All right, we're live now, but we're just going to give this a few seconds so that our live stream can actually take hold, and then we're going to get into our introductions. So first of all, I want to, ask you if you are in a position right now where you would like to reclaim your life. So are you feeling stuck? And if you're feeling stuck, you are in the right place. Hi, my name is Lisa Kneller. I am a Reinvention life coach. I have a website called lisanellercoaching.com and also a reinventionlifecoach.com. I help women flourish using techniques in positive psychology, self-coaching, and transformational conversation. So I love to help women transform. I love to help them reinvent themselves. And today I have a guest who has done that at least a couple of times, and she knows the walk and the talk of reinvention. So anyway, if you do want information on how to go through the reinvention process, again, go to my website, lisanellercoaching.com, lisanellercoaching.com, or reinventionlifecoach.com. Now, I want to introduce my guest today. I'm so excited to have her here with us. So we're going to talk about how to get out of the gap. Okay, this is my guest Joy's specialty. So the gap is that place where you feel stuck and you know you need to move forward and you need to reclaim your life. So my guest is Joy Bretz-Sherrill, and she has been in that place where life looked good from the outside, but on the inside, not so good. She was feeling kind of a mess and she was not happy. So we know there are people out there who know that they're not living their best life. That's why we're talking about this. They know they need to make a change, but they're missing the how-to. So moving forward toward your dream life is a process. And both of us could speak to that. It is not easy. However, it is definitely possible. Joy is going to share her story of how she went from a remarkably successful corporate treasurer to an in-demand health and wellness coach. Joy is an author, speaker, teacher, and the founder of Enjoy Being Fit. And that's NJOYBNFIT. So Enjoy Being Fit. A health and wellness business dedicated to teaching stressed out professionals how to reclaim their lives from financial frustration, mindset meltdowns, and unhealthy habits. Joy served as corporate treasurer for several Fortune 500 companies in her 24 years in corporate America. She managed corporate cash portfolios ranging from $100 million to $2.5 billion. That's right, billion. She also served on the Treasury Advisory Board for the Silicon Valley Bank to help influence strategic direction and add value to its customer base. She has been through a divorce, so she's been through changes with regard to that. She went back to school to get her master's degree in finance. She realized how important the financial landscape was to shift from debts to investments. And so she left the corporate world and went back to school for yoga and holistic nutrition.
Everybody tonight, until Lisa comes back, I guess I'll just kind of improvise. Hope everybody is doing well. And like we were talking about, or as Lisa was talking about, is bridging the gap. What does that look like? And telling a little bit more about my story is I found myself, it was back in 2016, I found myself trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I was looking outside the office building window and wondering if this was all that there is to life. Because if it was, I was not happy. And it was at that point that I realized that I needed to do something more with my life. I was what they considered successful from a society standpoint, but I was not happy internally. So because of that, I realized that I needed to start the process of discovering what was important to me, because I felt like I had lost myself during that process, going to school, getting married, having children, all the things that we're told that we're supposed to do. And I feel like I lost myself in that process. So I began my journey. It was May of 2016, and I took my very first yoga class, and that forever changed my life. Yoga isn't just about the physical movement. It teaches you how to live a life that is valuable, how to live a life truly from the heart. And looks like Lisa said that her, just got a message from her, that her internet went down and she's restarting her computer. So hopefully all of you are still here live with me, but continuing what I was talking about. So yoga was very important to me and is very important to me. And it was at that point in May that I realized that this was my purpose. This was my calling. So in August of that same year, I actually left my corporate job and left that life behind and enrolled in yoga teacher training. And it was during that time that I also discovered that I had a health issue. I was dealing with hypothyroidism. And at that point, I knew I had to do something else. And I was looking through the school's catalog, and they had holistic nutrition. Had no idea what holistic nutrition involves completely. But after I read the description, I knew that was a part of my new life, what I had to do. So, looks like she is joining. Are you back? Can you hear me?
I'm back, and I'm hearing the replay on the Facebook, so I'm just going to turn that off for a second.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. The lights went out, the computer went out, everything went out. So Where were we, Joy? I introduced you and you started talking, right?
Then I started talking. I don't know if I was still live or not, but I started talking about my journey and the process.
Yeah, so, you were still live and we are still live. And so I'm sorry for blacking out there for a little while, but yeah, this is what happens in technology and life and business, right? So we take a deep breath, we just roll with the punches and we keep going.
Exactly.
So go ahead, tell us more about your story. I'm so interested.
Okay, so as I'll continue from when I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. So it was at that point that this was right after I had left in August my corporate job and enrolled in yoga teacher training, and recognized that I needed to do something else. And it was at that point that holistic nutrition, I wasn't sure what it was exactly, but once I read the description, I realized, you know what, this is for me. I need to identify what was going on in my body and why it was unhealthy. And so during that discovery, I took my very first raw food nutrition class, and I started taking green smoothies every single day. And it was 90 days after that, I went back to my doctor, got more blood work, and walked into his office. He said, whatever you've been doing, continue to do it, because you've regulated your thyroid, and continue to move forward. So it's at that point that I recognized that, especially with yoga teacher training, mind, body, spirit is so important for us to really get through those challenging times, especially when, chaos starts to happen, how to remain calm. And the fourth element, which I realized took a little bit longer, but that fourth element is finances. So there's four key elements that I feel help to keep us in harmony with life and all that can be thrown at us. So it's mind, body, spirit, which is our self-awareness and how we show up in the world. And then that fourth one is finances, because if our finances are out of whack and all over the place and we're in debt, then we can't focus on moving forward. So those are the four key pillars or elements that I've recognized in my life, and finding and being able to find my joy is making sure those are in harmony.
Can you repeat those four again, Joy?
Sure. Mind, body,
okay,
spirit, which is our self-awareness and how we show up in the world. And then the fourth one is finances.
Okay. I'm just taking notes here. All right. Okay. So you've got these four pillars, and you really like to help people hone in on those four areas and really bring a holistic wellness to their lives.
Yes.
Through your coaching and your advising.
Yes, and it's about reclaiming your life, because like I mentioned before, we're so programmed. I use the word programmed because that's what it feels like to me. We're so programmed to, go to school, go to college, get a good job, get married, have kids. So we have this, this little bubble that we're supposed to live in, but not all of us want to live that way or do those things that way. So that's why it's so important for us to recognize who we are and value who we are. Otherwise, it's going to be very challenging for us to get through day-to-day life, or have those core relationships that are good and relevant for us.
Can you describe what it felt like to be in that corporate life? Like when you started to realize that this was not you, like, did you feel it in your body? How did it manifest in your body?
It manifested in, I had neck pain, I had back pain, just physical stress. The tension was so tight, like between my neck and my shoulders. The pain was so intense that a lot of the times I would have to sleep, at an angle, because laying flat on my back, the pain was unbearable. And it wasn't until I got into yoga, took my yoga classes, that I was able to stretch and lengthen those muscles. Because what we don't realize is when we're sitting all day, if we're at a desk all day, if we're sitting all the time, those muscles start to shorten. Mm-hmm. And so causes all types of challenges. So those of us that, may have low back pain, that has a lot to do with, sitting all day and in our arms in a 90-degree angle all the time. So it manifested in so many ways, and it manifested in hypothyroidism. So it was really bad, and lack of sleep,
Oh yeah.
4 or 5 hours, and I was up the next day doing the same thing. And, I was, trying to be mom and wife. And I was getting my master's degree at that time too. So literally, there was a whole lot going on.
I can't even imagine, because I did some graduate work, and just finding those, whatever it was, 6 to 10 hours a week to do homework. with grown kids was hard, So I can't even imagine being in that kind of a position. So I guess this is kind of a, if we could, shout out a warning to people like, hey, if you are working this hard and you are, of course it's good to have a goal and go to school and do all those things, but at some point you have to bring balance back into your life. You have to do some self-care, right? And that kind of thing.
Yes, it is very important to have self-care because it allows you to disconnect from the world. It's so easy. Technology is so convenient for us, and it makes our lives easier. However, it can also be a detriment to our own self-care. So that is why I make sure every single day before I look at my phone or look at a headline or anything like that, I have quiet time. That's my meditation time where I can truly just connect with myself and be quiet and really focus on how I want my day to go. Of course, you're going to get things thrown at you during the day, but overall, I have the ability to choose how I want my day to go because there's always a choice. Some people say there's never a choice. Oh, yes, there is. You get to decide. You get to choose how you want your day to go, your week to go, month, whatever. So, yeah.
So true. So when you made the decision to leave your corporate job, you decided to do it on your own. What process did you go through to kind of make that shift? Because I know there are people out there that are considering like, I would really like to leave, but I'm scared. Financially, I'm scared. It doesn't make sense or whatever,
Right. Yeah. That number one main thing is my financial landscape at the time is really, and having, that financial background, master's degree in finance, I was already in that process of understanding investments and understanding what I needed to save and how I needed to save. So of course, I did the typical, those of us that have financial backgrounds, we do the spreadsheets, right? Excel spreadsheets. How can I do this? So of course I did, my analysis of how would it work? What would it take? And then I just literally started the process. Was it nerve-wracking? Yes. But I was determined because I realized I knew in my heart I had found my purpose. And I just had to take the steps and be quiet and sit still enough to recognize when I was getting those answers to move forward and how to move forward. So the financial landscape was extremely important in order for me to transition out.
And not all people have that, right? So you had been working that for a while. So what advice would you give to people who are like, they can't leave their jobs right now, but maybe can in 2 years if they plan or whatever?
Right. Oh, yes. You have to plan. You have to budget. And a lot of people say, oh, I do budget and things are good. But the real question to ask yourself, especially during this COVID-19 period, is how would you be able to survive if you lost your job? How long would your family be able to survive? How long would you be able to survive? Would you be able to live the lifestyle that you're currently living if you didn't have that paycheck coming in every week, every 2 weeks? So those are things that, that's the first thing is look at your budget. Really pay attention to what you have going out. What are your expenses? And really starting to draw back and say, you know what, do I really need to do that? And I see this as a global reset for everyone to really focus and think about what is important. What is important to me? What is important in my life? Do I really need that high paying job that stresses me out? Or can I have a job that pays $20,000 less and I'm happy? I found my joy. Those are things that we really, really need to start thinking about and evaluating right now. So that is really key. And if you want to leave 2 years from now, then you're going to have to make the changes in order to do that. Period. It's the change starts with you. Everyone, is looking outside of themselves, but the reality of it is it's all within you.
It's all within you. And yet, people still have fear and they have self-doubt and all of that, which is, I think, where coaches come in. We're really the thinking partner with people who are going through those kinds of transitions, and we help them to ask the right questions and believe in themselves, really, right?
Right, exactly. Helping them bridge the gap, right? So often we're living in the gap because, fear is stopping us from moving forward. We're looking back at our lives and we're looking forward, but we don't see a way of getting out of the gap. So it's really focusing on how do I bridge the gap? And the first thing is you got to break down the barriers. What are those barriers that are causing you to not move forward, right? And then, you have to look at redefining the results. What do you really want? You don't like where you are right now, but you want to change that. And then it's, to move forward with instruction. What does that instruction entail? Okay, well, 30 days from now, or in the next 24 hours, I'm going to have a budget. And within that budget, my goal is to save up $1,000 over the next month. So it's really identifying those things that are going to help you reach your goals and get out of the gap. So many of us right now are living in that gap because we're terrified or we're fearful or we don't know how to move forward. So yeah, those are I would say some of the tips that I would say to get started is if you want to get out the job that you don't like, then plan to move forward and save the money that you need and reduce those expenses so that you can leave when you want to.
And I think it's a lot. I think the universe is asking us to be really resourceful right now. Thinking outside of the box of what are the possibilities for me? And, what have I done? What am I good at? What could I be good at? Those kinds of things. What do I love to do? And trying to figure out ways rather than just accepting the status quo. Right,
exactly. And the fact is that we have technology. We have the internet. Look at what we're doing right now. We don't have to go to an event center to have this conversation. We are doing it virtually. So it's a beautiful thing. Technology has afforded us to do a lot of the things that we used to do in person, and we can do them now, virtually. So it's wonderful. And yeah, thinking outside of the box is so important. Yeah, for sure.
So can you give us a tip or two on how a person might align with their values? Like maybe they're not even aware of what their values are. And perhaps you can speak to that. Like, how does a person discover what their values are so that they can better align?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is take a piece of paper and a pen and literally start and write down, what do you want in your life and what do you not want in your life? And that begins the process of identifying what you value and what you don't value or want in your life. And that's how simple it is. And you just build on that over time because it's going to change, it's going to grow. And just recognize that your value comes from within and it's nothing material that is outside of you.
Okay, so get a piece of paper and a pen, start writing down what it is you want, what it is you don't want. And maybe even create a vision, like a full on vision statement, and how it would feel to have what you want.
Right.
And like, that's where vision boarding comes into play, right?
Mhm. Yes. And I actually have an affirmation that I say every single day. Everything is always working out for me. That is something I say every single day, and it just shifts. It shifts my day, and even when in those challenging moments, it helps me recenter and think about what's important. It helps me think back to what I wrote down about what I wanted and didn't want.
Yeah, and before we actually started this broadcast, you and I were talking about how it is difficult. We're both working towards a goal, right? And it's some days you're just like, what am I doing?
Why am I here? What is this? Why?
But there is something driving us, and it is a bigger vision. So how would you speak to people who, well, let me just preface it this way. I heard a podcast the other day, and it was all about the grind, and how the grind is the period of time where you are just doing things for yourself or your business or your future, and you feel like you're getting nowhere, right? But you are getting somewhere. And at some point, you're going to benefit from having been in the grind, because all the things you did and learned while you were in the grind are going to come back and like support you later, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And it's about, the way I look at the grind is it's that self-development, right? Self-development, as well as if you have a business development or personal growth, whatever that may be. But it's that grind that helps us grow into being our best selves and putting our best foot forward. So it is very important to not forget that we do have to slow down. And we can't our minds are so active and overstimulated 24 hours a day that we do have to take a step back. Going back to our conversation about self-care. Self-care is important. It has to be a true number one in the scenario of being a part of that grind.
God, I love that you said that. And for you, it's meditation every day. And for me, right now, it is guided meditation. So every day during my lunch, and I'm working from home right now, but I set my timer. I use Insight Timer, which is the app on the phone, and I do a guided meditation for about 23 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever it is, but it's just under half an hour. And I let someone else guide me into a relaxed state, just because it's a little bit easier for me during my workday. But also it recharges me, and I am able to get through the rest of the day. So thank you for those tips. Any advice to people who are worried about how life will be after this pandemic is over?
Well, first of all, our lives will never be the same. So let's be clear about that. And it's time to move forward, and we have to be intentional about how we move forward. We can't dwell on the negative. We have to move forward, and the sky's the limit. Like you just said, think outside of the box. Think outside of the box. If you don't want to be in that job that is so stressful that you are losing sleep or it's affecting your health, start thinking about other ways, other opportunities that can help you reach your goal of, joy or happiness. So it's so important that we not let this time distract us. It disrupted our lives temporarily. It's a season in our life, but it is not all of our life. So with that, I would say we have to move forward. We can't live in the gap. We have to move forward one step at a time. I'm not asking for, leaps and bounds, but it's one step at a time.
One step at a time. And I'm just going to add to that, perhaps, consider developing some new skills. Just, think about it, because there's ways you can learn how to teach yoga, and create a second source of income, or you can learn to teach art, or you can tutor kids, there's so many things that you could do to make money and to develop skills. So with that, Joy, I want to thank you so much, but also we want to know, where can people find you? I know I put some stuff in the chat box, some links where they can find you, but I want to hear how you would direct us.
Sure. Okay. First of all, I actually started a meditation and gentle flow yoga group, and it's called Namaste Nightcap. And on Monday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can join the group ahead of time and then join us live on Monday and Thursday nights. And that is in my Facebook group. And Lisa, if you can post it is it in the chat?
It's in the chat.
Oh,
and and then feel free to post it under the recording too on my coaching page. You could just plug it in there.
Okay.
So
perfect.
Yeah.
So that's
Namaste Nightcap. And is that on Zoom, or is that through Facebook, your Facebook group, or how?
It's my Facebook group. Yes.
Okay.
So go directly to groups and look up Namaste Nightcap and pop it in, and there you are. And then I also have, it's called Momentum Monday Message. This is a message that I share with my email list group of how to move forward, get your Monday starting in a positive direction, and then also your week. So they receive an email as well as a video that, kind of talks through those 4 key pillars that I talked about earlier: mind, body, spirit, and finances. And there's a different theme every single month. So this month is believe. So this coming Monday, I will be talking about believing in your finances, and what do you believe about your finances. So you could join that group, and that is Enjoy Being Fit newsletter. And you can also connect through that newsletter on my Facebook page as well.
Oh, cool. Okay. And then didn't you have one other, do you have a website or someplace they can go?
Yes, I do have a website, and my website is the letter N, Joy, Mind, Body, and Soul.com.
And Joy, Mind, Body, and Soul.com. Okay. Fabulous, Joy. Thank you so much. Well, folks, I appreciate you joining us tonight. I hope you got something out of this. The main thing that I want you to get out of it is that you have what it takes to make changes in your life, to reinvent yourself, to chart a new course, and you can do it on your own, or you can, hire a coach and get some help. Have someone walk alongside you, be your thinking partner, someone who can guide you. Again, I'm Lisa Kneller with Lisa Kneller Coaching, and also reinventionlifecoach.com. So you can go there and get my free video series on how to reinvent your life from the ground up. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you, and we'll see you on our next show.
Bye.
And thank you, Joy. Thank you.
Bye.